everybody, and welcome to another edition of Poland Daily Travel. This time we're in far west, the far west of Poland. We are about an hour and a half or so from Poznan, almost 2 hours perhaps, depending on how fast you drive. And we're in a place called Zielona Góra. This is the hill. Góra means hill, and we're standing on it because there are not a lot of hills around here. Green Mountain actually is the name. Góra means mountain or hill. But this is not a particularly hilly part of Poland. At any rate, Zielona Góra. It used to be called Grunwald, you see. In the old days, the Germans called it Grunwald. It was a German city for a very long time. But it has a history, of course, of going back and forth between Germany and Poland, or rather I should say Brandenburg and Saxony and Poland. In fact, not a lot of people know this, and it's worth stating, since we're here on the border now, that, well, we're not exactly on the border, but we're close, okay? About 60 kilometers, 40 miles from the border if we go due west. And we're going to be going throughout this area. But it's worth saying in the next few programs that the actual king of Poland was a German fella at the end of the 1600s. That's right. And so his seat of residence, the Polish king, who was also the elector of Saxony, which means he was the head guy in Saxony, he was based in Dresden. And of course you remember the name Dresden. It's not that far away from us because that city was completely destroyed by the Allied Air Force in World War II, and a massive firebomb that Kurt Vonnegut was one of the witnesses of. The writer Kurt Vonnegut, he wrote a book called Slaughterhouse 5, which is a science fiction as well as his history book. It's a very curious mixture, brilliant, of course, as everyone knows, about the firebombing of Dresden and his witness of it. So what I'm trying to say is that the history of Germany and Poland is never any closer than it is in this area along the border. And we're going to be going through this particular southern province of Lubusz, and visiting some villages and even venturing closer to the border should time permit. Anyway, those are our plans. You're going to see a lot of interesting things over the next few programs, so stay tuned. We're hoping for the sun. It came out just as we started, and it's supposed to be a sunny day. I could see the blue sky just begging to be revealed. But we shall see. We might have to wait a couple of hours before we get more sun. So some of these shots are going to be sunny, some are cloudy, or more cloudy, and some are going to be sunny later. At any rate, let's just take a look down here around the corner, and I'll show you one of the talking pieces of the town before we move on. We'll come back to Zielona Góra because it's the wine capital, as you'll see in a moment, and not only known for wine, but a couple of other things that I'll tell you about after this trailer. Enjoy. Come on. Hello everybody and welcome back. I'm still in Zielona Góra. I just moved around behind that sign that you were looking at in the last section. Behind me is a famous landmark here. It's called the Palmiarnia, and inside are lots of palm trees, as the name might suggest. Also, there's a little maze here for kids. You have to be, I think, pretty short not to see over it. Pretty hard to get lost. I don't think the point is getting lost, but just, you know, it's kind of pretty and give the kids some fun. But the Palmiarnia is for kids of all ages. That's a bit of green which is greatly appreciated. It's the biggest greenhouse in Poland, actually, that isn't for commercial purposes. And the Palmiarnia is open every day from midday, from 12 o'clock until 10. So if you're in Zielona Góra, you want to stop off there and try some of the wine, because Zielona Góra is famous for wine. They have a wine festival in the summer, more than one wine festival actually, and it's pretty surprising. But we'll come back. I mean, you don't think about wine in Poland, but there is some, not just here, but in Sandomierz as well. I think there are 5 places in Poland that are supposedly graded and approved wine-producing areas. At any rate, we'll come back in the summer, we'll roll up our trousers, and we'll stomp grapes in our bare feet, if they'll let us. So that's the Palmiarnia, and perhaps they'll let us in later. It's closed right now, as often happens in our travels, but and it's also winter time. But that's the perfect time for going and sitting in the palm trees, isn't it, in the winter? So we'll try them, and perhaps in a subsequent program, because we're going to move on soon to some of our destinations today, and in a subsequent program we'll be able to go into the Palmiarnia, and they'll let us walk amongst the palms and feel like we're in, I don't know, some place where there's palm trees. What's the closest palm tree to Poland? The closest palm tree to Poland will be found in Trieste, or, which is Italy, of course, on the Adriatic Sea, or somewhere in Croatia. It's a close run thing. Okay, that's it. See you in a second. Just give you a view of the town. Right, so we've seen modern ambition of enclosing palms in Northern Europe inside a huge greenhouse because perhaps the name of your town is Grunberg or Zielona Góra, Green Mountain. Behind me, though, is the reality of the medieval beginnings of Zielona Góra. It's a nice little old town. It's quite compact, but interesting German architecture, several fine churches, and an interesting town hall as well, with a torture museum and the local land museum in the basement. We'll have to go there in the future. At any rate, it's goodbye for now. See you tomorrow night from Zielona Góra. I'm Will Richardson. This is Poland Daily Travel. Thank you for watching.